explain and take care of so much. And with modern technology, today, I think it's just a necessary thing to protect everybody on
Very
both sides of it.
self-explanatory.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned on your website that stuck out to me, you used the phrase dealing with systemic social issues. What would be some of the systemic issues that you're facing in Charlotte County that you need to deal with?
With my campaign manager and he came up with an idea the other day, and I thought it was pretty cool, building a better officer. They have all the tools now that we give them, and we give them training. But as you say, things nowadays have progressed. The mental illness issue out there, the drug addiction issue with the heroin and the fentanyl.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you another example, close to my life. My mother had Alzheimer's. Before we figured this out, she was at home by herself. Now, a law enforcement officer gets a call from a neighbor, and he arrives at my mother's house. He doesn't know she has Alzheimer's. There's clues. If you get into the house, if you get to talking to people, you may be able to say, oh my gosh, that we may have dementia or Alzheimer's here. We may have a person with PTSD, a veteran. You don't know, but we just need, I think, more training in that area. Really stress the training. I know they're not counselors, they're cops, but you have to be a counselor.
Yeah.
You have to be a lot of things out there as a cop. I think you know that. I know that. I dealt with it. And earlier, and I'm not trying to dispute you, but we deal with the worst of the worst usually.
Yes.
But we do get calls to good people's homes.
Oh, sure.
Taxpayers' homes. Again, like my mother. I got calls from neighbors, and all of a sudden she was out knocking on people's doors at night, and she was seeing people and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? Then I'd go to her house, and I'd find everything was unplugged in the house. Little things, clues of Alzheimer's, dementia, I didn't know about, but I learned real quick.
Right.
Unfortunately, she passed about 6 years ago. But again, as an officer, going knocking on a door and meeting my mother, who would have ever known that?
Right. Right.
So,
and again, the situations officers get into, when you pull up, on a scene of something, and having to look at people and identify. I mean, I don't think that the average person really takes that. They look at it and, this guy drives a car with lights on it and he carries a gun. Woo-hoo, But being able to read people, deal with people, spot the liar real quick.
Yeah.
Is this person inebriated, or do they have a mental problem? Looking
Drugs.
for the sign of the drug.
Yeah.
Are they drugged up at the moment? I mean,
it's tough.
There's a lot of expected.
Yes. And I'm not making excuses for them. We signed up for that. We took an oath.
Yeah.
And I was willing to do that, just like all the great men and women that are out there in law enforcement today.
Yeah.
And I appreciate them. I've been retired for 10 years. I haven't needed them, thank God. But if I did, I'd be glad that they were there for me.
Yeah. I had an episode a couple years ago. I was glad that they were there. I was at work up in Venice, and I got jumped by a homeless guy, and come around the corner of a building and got me, and it took. He ran off up the street. That took 5 deputies to take him down because he was strung up on stuff.
Yeah,
And when I met him in court, he didn't even know who I was. He's like, "I've never seen this guy before in my life." I'm like, "Yeah, really?"
You don't know what's going on in people's lives.
No.
But then you got to remember the cops out there too are vulnerable to human things. I mean, we have families. We have.
And they're not.
And I say we. I should say the officers. I'm not an officer now. I don't want to take credit where credit's not due. But when I was an officer, I mean, we're vulnerable to things too. I mean, they've had officers at the sheriff's office that were dealing and selling drugs. Bad apples. They got rid of them.
Yeah.
But those things are out there for everybody, not just the common citizen.
Yeah.
They're out there for.
It's so easy to get tangled up, and you're not dealing with superheroes. You're dealing with average
human
people,
beings.
Average human beings who have feel the need to tackle a tough job.
Yeah.
And okay, one of the things that is dear to me a little bit because I have friends that are incarcerated. Does the Charlotte County Jail, which now I'm going to run off an assumption here. Correct me if I'm wrong. But generally, the sheriff is over the jail.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of electronic communication that they have? I know I use an app that's called JPay, and I can communicate. I can send emails and stuff. You buy what's called a stamp, and You know, it costs me 44 cents to send
Right.
an email, and I can prepay for them to email me back and
Yes.
stuff. Do you have communication system like that going there?
I have to tell you, I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Uh,
You know, I would hate to answer that and be wrong, and so I really don't know if they do or they do. I know the state does. I'm familiar with the JPay for the state Department of Corrections, but I'm not sure if Charlotte County Jail actually has something like that.
well, I would
I
encourage
thought
you
at
if you
one
know.
time, I take that back. I think at one time you can call and there's a video process or something maybe. I don't know if you have to be there on site and use it,
Okay.
you know, or you can do it from home. I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's all I know about it.
It's just such a great way of being able
Yes.
to communicate, and you know, it's so much faster than mail and so forth.
Well, they have closed circuit TV for court,
Yeah.
things like that. So
Okay.
I'm sure the closed circuit TV thing works for visitation too sometimes. So
Okay. All right. Another thing that you talk about on your website is de-escalation retraining. What exactly are you talking about?
well, again, not talking bad about the officers because I mean I was one for 28 years, and I know sometimes you're human again, and I keep throwing that factor out there, and things escalate faster than what you expect them to.
Right.
So we want to train. I mean, that's all I can tell you. And a lieutenant, one of my lieutenants told me, I'll never forget it. He said, Dale, you can't train enough. You can't
That's
train
true.
enough because then it becomes second nature to react to what you have to react to. He used to tell me, go home, take your weapon, make it safe, and practice in the mirror. You know, with your weapon, as far as if you couldn't qualify for the Ranger thing like. But there's ways to practice, even not waiting for training at the sheriff's office, because there's only a few times a year that they go and they train at the sheriff's office. It's not every day of their life. So they're only getting so much training in a short period of time, and then they're expected to go back out on the road, and there you are, until next time.
Right.
And it could be annual, could be biannual. So I think there needs to be more training and stressed, again, on the issues at hand, the civic issues at hand.
I was only able to find one instance of the use of deadly force in Charlotte County in the past few years. Have they had issues with anything like that going on in the county? Or?
No, not that I recall.
Yeah.
No. I remember back in the day when I was a cop. I remember a couple officers got in shootings, but and I can tell you their names now because I won't forget them. But
Sure.
yeah, I was there. I wasn't at the scene, but I saw what it did to them afterwards too.
Yeah.
So I mean, takes its toll.
Yeah.
Takes somebody's life like that.
Yeah. I get so mad at the current news media that acts like every cop is just itching to get out there and pull their gun.
No.
And there's nothing further from the truth.
Well, that's why the law enforcement went to the taser. We used to have batons, and all different kinds of batons,
Yeah.
as you know.
Yep.
You know, and
I remember when you get the little ones
well,
that came
we
out,
were
it was like, ooh.
not only was the people getting arrested getting hurt, but officers were getting hurt.
Yeah.
So they come up with the taser. I thought it was one of the best tools that a police officer could have. De-escalation, again, without using deadly force.
Yeah.
So one of the best tools they got on their belt.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't hurt the person, and it saves a lot of downtime for an officer and workman's comp and taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't hurt the person getting tased.
Right.
So it keeps them from getting hurt too.
I got a boy that's in the Air Force. I don't know if you saw the Air Force flag flying on the pull-out front, but when he was going through training, he sent me a video. They tased him in training, and
I've got it. I've got it twice.
Down,
I've got it twice.
Yeah, I've been tased too.
Yeah.
and
And gas. I mean, firm believer in
Yep.
OC. I've been
Yep.
trained in OC, CS, and all that. When I was SWAT, I was on SWAT for quite a while, and we used to have to go through all that training and so forth. And boy, I'll tell you what, that's some bad stuff.
yeah, I mean, you get there, and your reaction is you want to rub your eyes. Or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
And that's the worst thing you can do, So you're having to fight through it and not touch your face or anything, And, yeah.
And you just said it. That's what they had us trained for. Fight through it.
Yeah.
Because we had to get sprayed, then we had to go to certain stations and handcuff a suspect.
Yeah.
Or tell them to get back with a baton at the time we were carrying a baton. Get back, defend yourself, till you can see or till your partner gets there. So it's a lot of training. A lot of officers go through an awful lot.
Yeah, I did that. We had a guy. They had us wrestling a guy. They had us
Yes.
down on the ground, and they actually, the training I went through, they sprayed the officer, but they didn't spray the other guy. They like got him like on the side, you know, it was closer to the officer's face. And you had to get the guy down and cuff him before they.
I remember they used to spray the guy we used to have to tackle. He had gloves, and he had it all over his gloves, and if he got you in the face and stuff, and rub it in a little bit.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
very interesting training,
Yeah.
to say the least.
You know, the training aspect and what you say, and it not only goes for law enforcement, but it goes for any career. You know, the constant training, you know, and being prepared for any type of situation, going through, you know, you can never prepare enough.
No, you're going through scenarios in your brain all the way to a call.
Yeah.
This could be, this could have, but you can what if all day until you get there and find out what you're responding to and who you come in contact with.
Yeah. I'll tell you that, you know, one of the I've never forgotten it is how much it impacted me when I was going through training. We got a officer needs help, and where I was at, we ran in. There was one officer in a car, but we ran in kind of in twos. You know, tried to stay in the same area to back each other up. Well, they had wandered off, following a car, trying to run a plate and stuff, and kind of gotten out of district just a little bit by a few blocks.
Yeah.
Well, we were their backup. We were the closest to them, but we were 2.5 minutes away.
Right.
And they're on the radio screaming, "I need help, guys! I need help,
Long
guys!"
2.5
You know,
minutes, wasn't it?
It was we were going.
Seemed like an eternity.
We were on a 3-lane, one-way street going through downtown, going against traffic, lights and siren. You know, the fastest way to get to them. And I mean, your brain the whole time, you can't describe
Well, it's
what's
adrenaline.
going on. Yeah.
Adrenaline inside you is taking over, and you're
And
just
you're like,
pumped.
they're screaming. You hear them screaming. They need help, but you don't know exactly what's going on when you
Right.
get there. What am I pulling up to? You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so the training aspect of it, and being able to do it. You know, my son that's in the Air Force, he's in. They've changed the name of it, but he's basically military police. You know, so that's the kind of stuff that he's doing all the time. You know, and preparing all that kind of stuff, and you know, never knowing what's going to happen and being ready for it.
Yeah, we have several officers that I know that I worked with back in the day that came from military police, and they get out of the military and of course go into law enforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
He's offside Tiger is my boy, but it's kind of what he's talking about. You know, a few years down the road is he's like
They
maybe
make good
I'll
officers.
get out, get a job in a small police department near a college that has a law school, because he's talking about getting his law degree. So he's like, you know, maybe I'll work as a police officer, you know, part time or you know, part of the
And
time,
get the degree while he's
get my
being a cop.
degree.
There you go.
And then I can, you know, that's kind of what he's thinking. So
Sounds great.
But they do make, you know, the military guys do, because there's a lot of specific training that goes in that helps them, you know. So, okay. I was looking at some stats. I found a pretty interesting one. There were 231,221 calls in 2019 for service into Charlotte County.
Charlotte County.
Yeah. Out of all of those, all right, just over 231,000 calls. Of all the calls that the K-9 unit went to, there were only 8 instances where the K-9 actually had to get a hold of somebody.
Yeah.
You know, those are pretty good numbers.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and again, that's like you just said, that's training. They're not just going to turn the dog loose on anybody.
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever, just because they want to see their dog bite someone.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they're held accountable.
Sure.
And they know that if I let this dog loose and he bites someone, I'm answering for it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
At least that's embedded here.
Yeah. And the other thing